Hello and welcome to Skin Unfiltered. I'm your host, presenter and British Skin Foundation ambassador, Lex Gillies. I've spent half my life learning to love my skin, ever since I was diagnosed with rosacea in 2005. And I'm not alone. We're all united by skin. A massive 60% of us will deal with a skin issue at some point in our lives. In this series, we get deep with some well-known guests who've had to deal with their own skin challenges. From alopecia to eczema, we want to highlight that perfect skin is a myth, even to the people you see on your screens every day. The British Skin Foundation is a charity that supports research, not misinformation, and so every episode I'll be joined by a real dermatologist to get under the skin of our guest, answer your questions, and tackle some of the most rampant skin trends circulating online. Today we're talking skin cancer with Coleen Nolan. After conquering the charts with her sisters as the Nolans, still one of the biggest selling girl groups in the world, she's made us groan, gasp and giggle as a regular panellist on hit ITV show Loose Women, which she's now been a part of for almost 25 years. I can't wait to meet her, but first let's introduce this week's dermatologist, Dr Angela Tewari. Thank you so much for being here.
Thank you so much for having me. Such a privilege.
Your CV is pretty impressive. You've been in medicine for 20 years, you've won awards and wrote your PhD on UVA1 and skin damage. What do you love about working in dermatology?
I mean, what I absolutely am fascinated by is really what you can see on the skin. You can see, you can treat, and whether that's just the skin and the inflammation that you get with, say, acne and rosacea, needing topical treatments or other treatments, or it being a marker for something deeper, for other conditions, and actually manifest on the skin is massively stimulating and exciting.
And how long have you been working with the British Skin Foundation?
I was just talking to the team outside. They actually part-funded my PhD 15 years ago. And that was, as you say, and thank you very much for saying that, is UVA1 and looking at what we understand as the cellular and molecular effects on the skin and understanding where it causes the damage. So from then on, I have been working with BSF and now work as a spokesperson.
That's fantastic. Let's talk about today's guest, Coleen Nolan. You've probably seen her on Loose Women, or I imagine Dance to I'm in the Mood for Dancing.
Absolutely, yes. I'm a big fan of Loose Women.
I'm not going to sing I'm in the Mood for Dancing, but I feel like it's a banger.
You should.
Coleen went public with her skin cancer diagnosis a couple of years ago and did such an amazing job of encouraging people to check out any skin concerns. Have you noticed people becoming more conscious of skin cancer?
Definitely. So really with the advent of social media, we really are being able to educate people more. People understand the importance of sun protection, sunburn being an issue. And so we really are getting that education out. And that is reflected, which we'll talk about later, on some of the skin cancer rates that are falling in certain age groups.
Can you kind of briefly explain what skin cancer is?
Yeah, absolutely. Well, the word cancer brings out certain connotations, doesn't it? I mean, that means uncontrolled cell growth. So really, when you hear skin cancer, you're thinking of uncontrolled cell growths on the skin. But what's really important is you have different types of skin cancer. And obviously, melanoma is one extreme. But the other non-melanoma skin cancer, there's a group of different ones. And they include basal cell carcinoma and squamous cell carcinoma. But really, they are damaged skin cells, of which we have different types. And they then go into a period of growth that is moving at an uncontrollable rate, shall we say. But most, to reassure you, stay localized and don't go anywhere else.
Okay. I'm really excited for this chat. Let's get her in.
Let's get her in.
I'm so thrilled to welcome the queen of daytime TV, Coleen Nolan. Welcome, Coleen.
Well, it's such a pleasure to be here.
I always ask a few quick fire questions right at the top to kind of get us warmed up.
Okay, that's scary.
What's the silliest thing you've done to your skin?
The silliest thing I've ever done to my skin is probably use... I think it was snake. It might have been snake. Could have been shark. But whatever it was snake semen.
Wow.
That they told me was very good for my skin, and I bought it.
I would probably generally stay away from snake semen, actually, yeah.
I have tried.
Yeah.
I have tried.
And did it help? Did you see any changes?
No, but you know what? For one little... Because I did a show called The Truth About Beauty, so it was quite a few years ago, 2010 or something, 9. And I spoke to a lot of cosmetic surgeons and people that were having facelifts and all of that. And then obviously I had to trial all these honestly, it isn't the reason why my marriage split up, but it so easily could have been. Because when he came into bed when I was doing this show, I had gloves on with moisturiser, socks on. I had these tapes holding my face up. I had snake semen on my face. I thought, well, if he doesn't leave me now, he's never going to leave me. But so I had to try them all. But what was amazing was this tiny little pot of this so-called wonder thing was like £95 back then.
Yeah.
Coleen, have you learnt to love the skin you're in? And if so, when do you think that happened?
I've had to learn to love the skin I'm in because it's the only skin I've got. I think as I've got older, I've learnt to accept who I am and what I am.
Yeah. And what do you love the most about your skin?
I love I guess the fact I've got very Irish, freckly skin, and I used to hate it, but now I kind of like it. I like my little freckles.
So I want to talk about your public skin cancer journey, but first, you've had a really varied career. Obviously, it all began when you were part of the Nolan sisters. You were obviously big here, but apparently you were massive in Japan.
Oh, huge in Japan. It's a running joke at Loose Women. Because every time they're having a go at me, I go, girls, just remember I was huge in Japan. It really took off in Japan. Broke loads of records, sold more records than the Beatles back then at the time. And we went from being in, here at home to people going, oh, yeah, it's the Nolans or whatever, getting off the plane in Japan and having to be escorted by the army because there'd be thousands. It was like, and I was 15 at the time, but it was really like playing pop star for a while. And then we'd get back to England and they'd go, oh, they're back. Great.
So, you've been in the public eye since you were a teenager. Yeah. Have you always felt pressure to have kind of perfect skin?
I think I went through all the teenage angst that you get, but even if people did think bad things about you never really knew, because there was no kind of social media, but now they spot everything. If you go on telly now with even the slightest spot on your face, it's like, oh, you need this, I've just seen your spot today, and you think, God, even I can't see it. So I'm more, you become more aware of it now. So yeah, it's very different.
Yeah. And is that something you think about when you're kind of getting ready to go on TV now? Do you have that in the back of your mind? Like,
no, I'm just very, very thankful for makeup. And really, really good makeup artists.
Dr. Angela, have you noticed your patients coming to you and, this added pressure of social media? Do they reference that when they come into your clinic and stuff?
I mean, social media, the pressure to look a certain way, to have clear, flawless skin, not to have this mark, that mark, it's quite shocking, really. And I have children, I have teenage children, and it's unfortunate. But really, what I do stress, first of all, is this is part of their beauty. Everyone has something that doesn't look perfect. And, imperfection is perfection. And I think that's, first of all, really important. And I'll have patients that want this removed, that removed, and it's not medically necessary. It's because they have the pressure of looking a certain way.
I totally agree with you there, because my whole point is, like, everyone is starting to look the same to me. And it's starting younger and younger, which is scary.
Absolutely.
And there is a pressure when you get older of people going, oh, you're going to have, you're going to have a bit of work done. But my whole thing about, like you've just said, I love seeing the difference in people. I love seeing a face that's lived. I love seeing a face when they go, it's my laughter lines. And I go, that's because you've laughed a lot. Why are you worried about that?
And actually, if you look at the studies and you ask someone, you give them a series of photographs and you ask them who looks the most, has the most presence or the most, you admire or you look at, and it's actually the ones that have the slightly asymmetrical faces or what people are drawn to. That is beauty. So, and I think that's just so important to first of all get across to patients.
Massively.
Yeah. Coleen, how has your idea of healthy skin changed since the Nolan days to now?
Oh, God, back in the day, I mean, we were caked in it, and it wasn't as good. It wasn't as good stuff as it is now. Do you know what I mean? It had everything in it, and I don't think I ever took my makeup off. I think I'd go to bed and think, oh, I can't be bothered. I'll do that in the morning. When you're younger,
You can get away with it.
You can get away with it. Whereas now I'm much more, I wouldn't dream of going to bed, like, with my makeup on.
Yeah. I'm you saying that about not taking makeup. I'm picturing like crazy rock and roll, like on the road, and you and your sisters kind of like having wild nights out, and then, or is it a bit more?
Oh, and then you sleep in it and hope that it'll stay so you can keep it on all the next day. I've done that many a time when I was young. I thought it looks fine. Just add a bit of blusher, I'll be fine. But you know, I remember my mum back when we were back, because my mum was in show business as well, and she was baffled then because we would have all these creams to take it off, and she used to go, do you know, I used to take mine off with margarine. She used to take her makeup off with margarine.
Oh my goodness.
And she was in the when it was like thick.
Yeah.
Because it was stage lights, like not big lights. So it was thick. And my mother, I have to say, had the best skin till the day she died. I never, ever saw a spot on my mother's skin, ever.
Oh my gosh.
Leave a bit of moisture on the skin then with taking it off with margarine. Yeah, there you go.
I know, but I suppose back in the day, so we didn't have the money and there wasn't all that around. So you just took it off with whatever you had there. But but I used to go, yeah, we've moved on a bit now, Mum. Don't need, keep the margarine.
Coleen, the skin issue you've been very open about is your skin cancer. In 2023, you announced it on Loose Women, your diagnosis. How did that feel? How did you decide to do that?
I felt it was important to do, but at the same time, I felt embarrassed because it was a carcinoma on my shoulder, which actually I thought was a tiny bit of eczema. And I went actually about the little cyst things I get on my chest because they were flaring up. And then I showed the dermatologist, said, I was going. And I said, oh, actually, just before I go, just to shut my sister up, can you check this thing on my shoulder? And he said, that's carcinoma and you need to come back. And I laughed because I thought I thought he was winding me up. I thought, no, it's eczema or something. And he was
Hearing
like,
that
no.
word carcinoma,
Yeah,
right?
just straight away. But then, so obviously they asked me to talk about it on Loose Women and all of that. And I said, okay, but it was difficult because my sister was just been re-diagnosed with her secondary breast cancer. So I felt like, I hope people don't think I'm trying to pull it, you know what I mean? It seemed nothing compared to that. But actually the response from it was incredible when I said it. And the amount of people that messaged the show saying, nice. I'm going to go tomorrow because I've had this mole or I've had this itchy little bit of skin, I'm going to go tomorrow. And then they'd message me, some said, oh, I went and thank God it was nothing. But I had so many that said, yeah, I went and it's carcinoma. But they'd never have gone because I wouldn't have gone only to shut my sister up.
So what? So your sister had noticed it and then she'd been
every time she saw me, like in the summer, you know, if you have a little vest top on. And every time we were there, and I can't tell you, it was like a little pinprick. And she'd go, I don't like that on your shoulder. And I kept going, oh, it's just a bit of dry skin. She said, yeah, but it's not going. And it's still red. And then I went through a phase of putting loads of oil. I just kept getting loads of oil, putting it on. And it still didn't change. It didn't grow, but it didn't go and it didn't change. And honestly, when he said the word carcinoma, I was so like, shut up. No, it can't be that. But he was very good and he said, look, it's fine and it's not going to spread and we can. So he gave me chemo cream. I'm sure it's got a technical name, but I just called it chemo cream.
Probably Epidix or Aldara or something. Well,
yeah, it was one of them.
Yeah.
But again, I was quite shocked by that because I put it on and on this little spot, which then became quite a big, horrible scab. Don't want to put anyone off, but it did. I mean, it was fine. It wasn't painful, but it was a bit like, ooh. And then it's left like a white round patch of skin. And he did mention a couple on my face, but then I was like, oh, it's a bit different on your face. Because then he said to me, you'd need at least a month off work. Because obviously what happened there would then happen on my face. And he was saying you can't put makeup on it or anything.
Right.
But he said there wasn't a rush for that. So I was kind of like, okay, at what point will there be a rush? Because I don't really want to wait till it is.
Yeah. So Dr Angela, that, you know, obviously you've not seen Coleen Nolan's history or anything, but I think you mentioned before that it was pre-cancer.
So that was
pre-melanoma.
Carcinoma, and then he said the little bits on my face are pre-melanoma.
Can you explain a little bit more about that?
Definitely. And first of all, the British Skin Foundation on their website have lots of excellent information that's balanced, sensible, can really be something to look at to see the different features of things to be wary of. But first of all, what I'm hearing is that you and your family noticed something was unusual. Something's not quite right. And that is the trigger factor. So if there's something, first of all, that you're not clear about, you're not sure what it is, you're not happy with it, definitely get it checked. And
I've gone and had 2 moles removed.
There you go.
Yeah,
so,
because
your
all of
awareness.
a sudden I thought, not sure about that.
And definitely it's about educating people to be more aware of changes on their skin, aware of what to look for. And, onto your questions with pre-cancer, pre-melanoma, I'd probably say something is a melanoma or it isn't a melanoma. There is no pre-melanoma. Anything theoretically can change. So at the time of diagnosis, is it an atypical mole, which is still benign? So once you take it out, it's treated. If it's a melanoma, we have very specific guidelines on staging it and treating it. So I think hearing the word pre-melanoma probably sounds more scary than it actually is.
Scared the life out of me.
Yeah.
But he did say, that won't be till you're much, much older. But I thought, well, how old and how long do I wait?
Well, education like that sometimes works for certain patients that need to know what consequences are. So potentially for younger patients, hearing that word pre-melanoma, they'd think, right, I need to be extra vigilant, not sunburn. But for other people, don't like that. I probably would say atypical mole or benign mole.
I was really surprised about with the carcinoma. They were saying that was from childhood.
So it sounds like...
and it's really quite prevalent in people my age, because back in the day, I don't remember, I used to play out for hours. And I don't remember my mum running out with sun cream or, whereas now we're so vigilant with that, with our children especially. And he said a lot of people your age, this is from childhood, and I remember getting burnt when I was little.
Yeah, for sure. Chronic sunburn is the major contribution to these atypical changes on the skin and this uncontrolled growth, which we term cancer. But what sounds on your skin, on your shoulder, which is an excellent result, you've had it treated, was that it was probably one of the slow-growing types of skin cancers, a non-melanoma skin cancer known as a basal cell carcinoma, of which you have several types, and those that are treated by cream is something known as a superficial basal cell carcinoma. We sometimes use the word basiloma or rodent ulcer to take away that name carcinoma because it triggers so many other emotions. And the fact that it's treated with a cream is excellent. It's excellent news. And
it was the fact that he said he could treat it was excellent news. But it's the word carcinoma.
It's the word. There are other types of basal cell carcinomas. And superficial basal cell carcinoma is one that can be treated very quickly.
So how common is skin cancer, and is it on the rise?
Very good question. So according to the British Association of Dermatology, there's some good news, and that is that the rates are lower than before in the under 50s, probably due to education with some protection. And there is a lot of information out there that's very much anti-sunscreen. But we know there are many randomized control trials that regular sunscreen will reduce cancer, will reduce skin cancer. The data is there. And these skin cancers are sunburn induced. So they are lower in the under 50s. They are still there in the older age groups, but the good news is that that's filtering through. We are seeing a slight reduction in the lower ages.
Yeah. I never realised that actually you should have SPF. I put SPF 50 on my face every day as part of my moisturiser routine because I always thought, it's only if the sun is on you. I didn't realise it could be a cloudy day and you could still be getting... So you are much more well educated now. Like my daughter, who's 24, she wouldn't dream of going out without her SPF on all times a year.
Which I think is great.
Yeah.
There is there are views that actually, if you think about the temperate climates like the UK, in the winter you don't need to use sunscreen. But I think to keep things simple by using a sunscreen all year round as a part of your
if
strategy.
it's in your moisturiser, you may as well. You're going to moisturise your face every day. You may as well have it.
You'll still get enough vitamin D production from sunshine. That doesn't actually need much sun exposure to get the right levels. And by taking vitamin D supplementation during the winter months.
You mentioned sun damage, but does anything else cause skin cancer?
Yeah, so you have a genetic contribution to probably melanomas. So some people are just more likely to get it than others. But really, sunbeds below the age of 35 is linked to an increase in melanomas, in melanoma skin cancers. But chronic sunburn and chronic sun exposure is probably your main factor.
Yeah.
being outdoors for 20 minutes in peak summer sunshine and then thinking, okay, maybe I should seek a little bit of shade, or maybe I should be mindful and reapply sunscreen or put on clothing is really what the information we want to get out there.
And you know what amazes me as well, that people think you have to be lying directly under the sun to get a tan. And it really annoys my daughter that when we go on holiday, we always have a mother and daughter holiday every year. And whenever we go out, I'll sit in the shade all the time reading a book because I can't lie out in the sun. I'm too hot. But she always goes, why do you tan?
Yeah. Yeah.
And I go, because you don't have to lie under it to tan. People think you have to literally. I've seen them on holiday and they're putting oil on and I think, oh.
Or oil increases your UV penetration.
Wow.
So,
it's
from
scary.
the Coco Chanel years where she came back sunburnt after applying oil, just because it propagates your sun exposure.
Oh my gosh.
They look like roast chickens.
Yes, it still happens, and but then it gives you a positive endorphin.
Yeah, it does.
With
You do
sun
feel
exposure,
better.
you will feel better. But yes, I agree with you. I've been on holiday recently and seen people outdoors for 2 hours.
It must be hard for you.
I was just
Being
about
a
to
special,
say
it must
that.
be so hard for you.
I know
not
you're going to ask
go
me,
up.
do I tap them and say, get out? Take an umbrella to them.
Are you tempted?
I mean, yeah, definitely. The temptation is very much there. Will I get probably slapped in the face? Probably.
I got told in Florida once I was sunbathing and a woman came up.
Oh, really?
Yeah, American woman. And she went, I just want to come up because the sun is so intense and you're so pale. And I really think, And I was like, I was only a teenager. And I went, thank you. And
Yeah,
she walked
exactly.
off and I thought, shut up. Yeah, years later, here I am with carcinoma. She was right. Should have listened.
I think you've been brilliant. Yeah. So I think really by understanding how chronic sunburn is such a big contributor to skin cancers, that people just need to understand, okay, I've been outdoors for a period of time, I'm an easy sunburner, or I tan, which is again still, you can still get that chronic sun exposure and over time develop things. I need to take myself away for a period of time, put on clothing, a hat, sunglasses, because it can damage your eyes as well, and be mindful.
Yeah.
Coleen, going back to your diagnosis, was it difficult to tell your family when you found out about your carcinoma?
Well, do you know what? I didn't tell them actually initially because I didn't want to worry them. We were going through so much with my sister Linda at the time and my elder sister at the time as well. And I thought, I'm not going to tell them. And because he was just very calm about it. And it was like, well, I'm going to get this cream and blah, it'll all be fine. And then we were sitting there with the family one day. And out of the blue, I think it was my son, my eldest son, all of a sudden went, well, it's like Mum now with her skin cancer. And my whole family just went, what? And I was just like, whoa, wait a minute. It's really fine, And they were like, why didn't you tell us? And I was just very much like, there wasn't really anything to tell at that. If it had been where, I don't know, thank the Lord it wasn't, but if I'd have had to have gone and have chemo, actual chemo and stuff like that, and it was a melanoma and obviously I'd have told them, but because it was just carcinoma and it was like he wasn't worried and it was just this cream, I didn't really think to tell them when they were being so. And my sister's sitting there going through chemo, and I'm thinking, I felt a bit silly doing it, but actually my family were brilliant because they were like, well, you absolutely should have told us. Like, it doesn't matter, it's still that word and we're all in it together. Yeah. I think the thing for me, the reason you don't go is, it wasn't hurting, it wasn't paining.
That's right.
So you just think, I'm fine.
Yeah.
Or I'll go next week. Whereas, if you've got something that's causing you pain or making you sick or whatever, you go, don't you? The thing on my shoulder didn't hurt. It just didn't go.
Yeah.
What you're saying is that something wasn't quite right. Your sister didn't like the look of it. It was different to everything else all the skin things that you'd presented with. And someone had picked that difference up. So that's brilliant. So that's a sort of, understanding of your skin or someone recognising something on someone else's skin and saying, okay, you know what? That's not quite right. Let's get it checked out.
Well, she did become my favourite sister after that. At least she cared enough to notice.
Do you think people underestimate skin cancer? Like, do you think because it's kind of a superficial thing that people don't take it seriously?
I mean, I have seen very young individuals saying, I'm going to stay in the sun, I don't believe in sun protection, and here I'm sunburnt, I'm peeling my skin off and I'm going to jump back in the water. So there's definitely people out there that refute this, don't they? Which is surprising. So I definitely think we're educating. We still have a lot to do. And we're slowly getting there, but there's still more work to do.
I still think as well, most people I've spoken to, and especially young people, they go, yeah, but they can just cure it. You don't die from skin cancer. But I genuinely believe people think it's 100% curable and you'll never die from it.
Yeah.
And not that I want to scare people, but I think we need to change that narrative that actually, if you leave it long, like any cancer or anything like that, if you leave it too long, you possibly could.
Yeah.
But I really think it's a massive thing of, well, they can cure it.
Yeah, I've seen people sort of saying, you know, when people were asked, why are you still tanning? Like, when you know the issue it can cause. And they say that, oh, well, it makes me feel better now and I'd rather be tan now. And then if I get it, they'll just remove it.
And they can just sort it.
It's not as simple as that.
No.
So what are the treatment options that people have when it comes to skin cancer?
Remove it, get rid of it. So whether that's a cream or we cut it out as dermatologists, but it's getting it off your skin is really.
And can
really
I just say at this point, because I was terrified when they were going to cut these moles off, I thought they were going to give me cream again, and I'm a real coward. Can I just say it didn't hurt at all?
Oh, good.
And it was so quick, and it didn't hurt.
That's really good.
But the key is prevention. So as much as you've had a great experience with, you know, you it's the psychology involved with cutting something out, the fear during the period of getting the results, then dealing with the scar, and there are sequelae with having minor surgeries as well.
Yeah.
Very, very much smaller and small infection risk, but really the key is prevention. So to be mindful that sunburn, sun protection is so important.
When does there come a point? Because obviously I'm so conscious of my skin, but I sometimes think, at what point do I get really paranoid and constantly phone the doctor and go, I've got this other thing. Yeah. That's the only thing that's worrying me. Like my daughter sometimes will go, what's that? And I go, I don't know.
So that's a good point. What should people be looking for? Like, how often should they be checking? What are they actually looking for?
So the things that we have a criteria in adults, not children, is called the ABCDE criteria. So when we're looking at ones that are coloured, so pigmented ones, we're looking at those that look asymmetrical. So the shape is not quite equal everywhere. The border is moth-eaten, cut out in places. The colour is multicolour or very much different to all the other moles that you have. It's getting bigger in size. You've got great pictures on the British Skin Foundation website. Really, really would encourage people to go there to have a look. But I think, you know, if you're worried about your skin, I think that's good. Being aware of sunshine, go and have a great holiday. I'm all about that. I won't tell you how long I spent out in the sun. but be mindful, you need to wear a hat. You need to come in during periods of time. You need to reapply sunscreen or change your clothing. So be aware of that as well.
Yeah. On my last holiday, we went to Turkey and it was absolutely boiling. And I had a UPF umbrella and I was walking around. I got so many weird looks. People were looking at me like I'd just fallen out of a tree. But I was just like, I can't go out in the sun. So I was just scuttling about with my little umbrella. But I was happy.
Well done. You're going to change people's views now.
When I went to Turkey, they had to get the doctor out for me for my skin again. No. And he said, you can't go in the sun. And when you get in the pool, you've got to have a T-shirt and a hat on at all times. I just broke. He said, you're allergic to it.
Oh my gosh, because it was so hot.
Yeah. Well, in Turkey, it must be different because I haven't had that anywhere else I've ever been, but I literally just broke out in hives. And he put me on this antibiotic thing, and then the rest of the holiday I was in a hat and in the swimming pool in a T-shirt. I felt so British.
Yeah.
Pale skin.
Well, now there's some very attractive T-shirts that you can wear in the swimming pool.
You're going to say some very attractive doctors. Give me a list of them, please. There's some very attractive T-shirts.
Well, you've forgotten what I've said.
Sorry. Very attractive T-shirts.
Yes, that you can now wear in this. Well, it's not as much as you wanted the attractive doctors.
Yeah.
The clothing has changed. So the awareness, the education's there. So really, when you start looking for things, umbrellas, I'm sure there'll now be more. There's lots more ideas.
Yeah.
So
it's definitely better.
It's definitely better.
I believe you have a question about sunscreen for Dr. Angela.
Yeah. So there is so many. When we were going on holiday recently, I went into the chemist or well-known pharmacy, and there is just rows and rows of sun cream. I know they're all different brands and stuff, but what should I be looking for? I don't know what I'm looking for.
So sunscreen and sunscreen filters have changed since they first came out, like in the 1930s. So first of all, when you hear things that this sunscreen's bad, just some of the filters change. They're constantly doing research. So then it's noticed that this potentially could be toxic, and that's what's come out. Toxic for coral, toxic for your hormone system. But sunscreens are safe. They're the ones that are on the market, ones with titanium dioxide, zinc oxide, even some of the chemical filters, the stable filters like Mexaryl, Tinazorb, Triazorb, they're safe. So first of all, I wanted to stress that they are safe. I will still always say whichever one that you can apply, then you're happy with the texture and the feel on the skin. And that is very different for every individual. So for example, I like a very oily, thick sunscreen. I'm very happy with an SPF 50.
Yeah,
but
that's what I get.
Yeah, and I'm happy with a spray sunscreen, and there's something coming out with aerosols. So aerosols you spray on your body, just to keep it away from your sort of respiratory breathing system. But it's really about finding a sunscreen that suits you. So if it's an SPF 30, if it's preferably SPF 50, because essentially by the time it goes on your skin, it will be a quarter of that.
Yeah.
That consistency, so a quarter of that protection. But yes, I personally like a fragranced one. That's just me, but
I've got a sensitive skin one.
So great.
Yeah,
so
same.
there's
Otherwise I
certain.
itch.
So not just fragrance, there's certain preservatives that won't be in those ones. So yeah, for sure. And you stick to one and you stay. But then also be mindful. Sometimes brands, when they do their next manufacturing, it might change a little bit. So just be mindful that if you start reacting to it a year or two down the line, if it's a new bottle, for example, you may need to switch sunscreens.
Right.
So
okay.
Coleen, has your diagnosis changed the way that you use sunscreen around your children and your grandchildren?
Well, definitely grandchildren. I mean, my son and his wife have just been on their honeymoon with their 7-month-old. And they were so, he was so protected. I don't think he was ever out in the sun. And if he was, he had the hat and the sun cream, everything.
Yeah.
So they're very up on it. And my daughter is actually. Funny enough, my eldest boy, he's 37 this year, I still have to tell him off. Because he goes away sometimes to work. He's a singer, and he'll go away. He's just been to Turkey, actually. And he'll send me pictures, and I'm like, "You're burnt."
oh no.
What what do I need to say here? Here am I with my carcinomas and my whatever, and I'm telling him, and he went, "I know."
What does he say though when you?
Oh, I fell asleep. Or, well, it didn't feel hot though because he had the sea breeze. That's the other thing, when you've got a breeze and you think, it doesn't feel hot.
Or you go back into the pool, or you
go
and
back
cool
into
down
the
in
pool,
the
cool
water.
down.
Yeah.
So it's funny how the oldest one is the least sensible, whereas the younger two are quite sensible. So I think we're much more up on it now. And I think because of what I've been through, I don't want to sit. I will sit in a shade, don't get me wrong. I love going on holiday, but I'm quite happy to sit under the umbrella.
Yeah, same.
And I still get a tan because my freckles join up.
I mean, you will tan with 20 minutes of peak summer sunshine exposure. So anything more than that, just you don't, for a tan, that much a day is suffice.
Perfect,
Yeah. But
Coleen, after everything that you've been through, personally and with your family, what are the things that are guaranteed to put a smile on your face, just kind of day to day?
Looking at my skin in the mirror. It's laughable. I just give up. Day to day, you know what, just where I am right now when I go home, and I have, last year I bought a little small holding, a little farm, and day to day, I've got 30 odd animals there. Wow. And that puts a smile on my face every single day. And also now having, in a year, I've got 3 new grandsons, two they're going to be born in November, and my other grandson will be 1 in November. I'll have 3 in a year. Exciting. I've kind of said to the kids, come on now. I know I was asking for it, but you've really, you've taken it too literal. So that they're always going to put a smile on my face. But and I think, without being, if there's any plus sign to losing people you love in your life, and I've lost a lot in the last few years, my 2 sisters, and, I think if you can't realise how short life can be or how unpredictable, and just I kind of now live in the moment rather than worry about the future. Because now if I worry about the future, I go, I think my sisters would love to be here worrying about that. And I don't know if I'm going to be here. So let's just live in the moment. And that's put a smile on my face.
That's
For sure.
Yeah, I think that's a really
Living in the present.
However, she's not getting out of here without looking at all my skin.
Absolutely. I've come from clinic, so I've got my dermatoscope doing that today.
We have some listener questions.
Oh.
So I thought that as we've got, Dr. Angela's scientific experience, then we've got your lived experience, I thought you could both kind of do a two-pronged approach on some of people's questions. Okay, so the first question is, I usually use tanning beds to give myself a base tan before a holiday so I don't burn. Is this a good idea?
No. I think we'd both say
Remember me
no.
wagging finger.
We'd both say no to that.
Tanning, get out of a bottle. Just get tanning spray, self-tan.
No excuse nowadays, is
There's
there?
no
Because
excuse.
There are
There's-
so many fake tans out there that are so good.
And there's so much stuff now. I can't use fake tans if they're not, X, Y, and Z. Risk benefit, it's better to do fake tan and tanning sprays than tanning lamps.
This whole idea of base tan, like where has that come from, and does it have any kind of basis in truth?
So first of all, tanning lamps, the actual irradiance or the amount of UV it gives out is unregulated. So that's really important that we're trying to. There's a ban in Australia, so we're really pushing for that in the UK. And base tan comes when you think about tolerance. So if you have repetitive sun exposure, you produce more melanin. So the pigment producing cells, they just produce more of this. Basically, a cap around the nuclei, around your DNA. It's actually a protective cap. And actually, the more you tan, it's actually in response to more DNA damage. So and your body's producing more melanin in return. So a better tan is actually because you've had more DNA damage. So really important to think that. We always say you look great, you have a great tan, but actually you've had a lot of DNA damage. I probably won't be saying that to people on the beach. You've got loads of DNA damage, but that is how we need to think about. And yes, absolutely, there is a little bit of protection when you look at the data. So if you look at the papers, there's things quoted like an SPF 3 improvement, but in lighter skin types, and an SPF 8 in darker skin types. But really, that doesn't mean that you should tan and use that as your only protection. This is all based on studies looking at what it can achieve by having this increase in melanin, but doesn't mean that you can be outdoors for 8 times longer or 3 times longer, or you're still going to sunburn if you go out.
So is it damage no matter what, basically?
Yes, the answer is yes. Yeah.
Okay. The next question is kind of related. So I have dark skin and no one in my family uses sunscreen. I never burn, but my boyfriend says I should still wear sunscreen. Is he right?
I like the boyfriend.
I like the boyfriend.
Yes.
Good, intelligent boyfriend. Well, yeah. So my brother-in-law, who's no longer with us, I'm a barrel of laughs today, aren't I? He's no longer with us, God love him, but he had skin cancer. But because he never burnt, he just went so brown, like he never burnt. So he never put cream on.
Yeah.
Because he's like, I don't need to.
Yeah.
He went, I don't burn. And he didn't. And he's sitting out in it all day, but he got cancer. So I think people, and genuinely, in 30 years, he was part of our life, and genuinely never saw him burn ever, but he would go so brown.
Yeah.
And we were all jealous of him at the time. Like, it's not fair. And then and he was very much, I don't need sunscreen, sun cream and all that. I never burn. Well, you did.
But actually, what the terms are photocarcinogenesis and photoaging. They're both interlinked. So sun damage and skin cancer and, really chronic aging as well, sun-induced aging, that there's a link. So by reducing down or protecting yourself from UVB, UVA, you're also actually probably going to look younger for longer.
Yeah, that's something I've seen a lot with people who've been trying to kind of educate about sun safety, and they sort of are now going down the route of like, if you're not going to listen to me about the risks of skin cancer, then listen to me when I say that it's going to age you and you're going to look older than
And they'll
your
jump
years.
on that.
Yeah. And
Because
that's what
everyone's
people care
against
more about.
anti-aging, aren't
Yeah,
they?
well, there's a paper that shows actually if you promote that, you're probably more likely to get more
People to listen.
Yeah.
I
Oh my
believe that.
gosh. Okay, the next question. I've been diagnosed with skin cancer and feel overwhelmed. How can I get through it? Coleen, what advice would you have for that person?
Well, I don't know. I think I'd go to you first, as in being overwhelmed.
It's massively overwhelming. That diagnosis. I mean, where do you even
and
start?
that word, cancer.
Yeah, for sure. And I think you need to speak to a specialist, and you need to have support groups, and you need to talk about it with health professionals around you. So I think it's very overwhelming, and recognizing that first of all is very important. So that's a great question.
It is, yeah. And it's all right to have those moments of feeling overwhelmed, especially if it's a recent diagnosis. And I think as a human, your instant thing is, it's cancer, I'm going to die. You know, I think we are not lucky, but I do think if you've caught skin cancer early, it's probably one of the most curable. And also just speak to it, get your family and get your friends to support you. There was times with my sisters, it wasn't skin cancer, it was breast cancer, but there was times when they would be overwhelmed and feeling down and just feeling like, I'm worn out with the treatment, I'm tired of it, blah, blah, blah. And that's where your family and friends come in.
Yeah.
Just for that moment to go, right,
you mentioned
we're all
that,
with you.
you didn't kind of want to bother them. But then when they found out, they were all saying, no, you should have told us.
You should have told us,
to know.
Yeah.
They want to be there to
because
support you.
and also because then I was carrying that worry. Instead of saying because I was worried, even though he was very cool about it, I was still thinking cancer while watching my sisters go through cancer. And actually when it did come out, the relief, because then I could say to people, no, I'm actually worried sick, to be honest. So it does help to talk to people.
Sure. Yeah. Before we finish up, I wanted to give Dr. Angela a chance to tackle some of the skincare trends circulating. We've spoken about social media and how, how much information there is out there. But there's a lot of misinformation on social media as well. Coleen, is there something you've seen online that you would like to ask Dr. Angela about?
Yes, so I'm hearing a lot about coconut oil as skin for like sun cream.
No, I agree. I've seen that as well. Applying coconut oil to your skin, as much as that smells great, it is going to increase the amount of sun exposure onto your skin at every given time point, because it's an oil. An oil will essentially propagate sun exposure. So it's not a form of sun protection. By all means, use that as something once you've come out of your sun, and use that as an anti-inflammatory topically. That's great. And I think I'm very happy with that. But please don't use that as a sunscreen substitute.
I've met a lot of people that go, oh no, and they'll get the spray on oil, or they'll get the lowest SPF because they'll go, yeah, but I won't tan if I wear 30 or 50. But you really can.
I mean, don't get me wrong, looking oiled, it will, that glistening, glowing look. I can understand why people want that, but you can get SPF oils. So you can get those oils that you apply. Nanoparticle sunscreens are phrases or words out there.
And you'll still tan.
You will still tan, yeah. You will look glowing, which is what the oil look, but you will still tan, but you will reduce your amount of sun exposure such that you won't burn as easily. That's what we want to avoid.
Okay.
Coleen, it's been a complete honour to have you on, and thank you for being so candid with us about all this.
I've really enjoyed it. It was so lovely meeting you.
We've come to the end.
No.
I know. But thank you both so much for being here. We've had consultant dermatologist,
enjoyed it.
Dr. Angela Tewari, thank you so much. We really appreciate you taking time away from your clinic. I know you're very busy. And National Treasure. I feel like we can definitely say National Treasure.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
Thank you so much both for being
here. I paid a lot to say that. Thank you too.
I hope you enjoyed that chat. I'm so thrilled to be working with the British Skin Foundation on the Skin Unfiltered podcast. When I was first diagnosed with rosacea, I felt so lost and really struggled to find trustworthy information about my condition. I hope that by listening to this podcast, you not only feel more educated and informed, but also less alone. If you enjoyed this episode, please subscribe wherever you get your podcasts, or you can like and subscribe on YouTube. Leave us a comment and let us know the topics you'd like us to cover and any guests you want to see on the show. Don't forget to follow the British Skin Foundation on the usual platforms for all the latest research and skin information you can trust. Just search @BSF Charity. Skin Unfiltered is a British Skin Foundation podcast presented by me, Lex Gillies, produced and edited by Scott Jenkins, commissioned by Bickerstaffe at the British Skin Foundation, with production assistance from Tejal, Depala.